Hey everybody, Sarah here. So I was going to make a video yesterday about the fact that a certain player hadn't been picked for the World Cup squad for England. But then I was like, I'll wait until they actually announce the squad, which was today. Um, so yeah, hang on, let me bring up the. Um, okay, so um, goalkeepers. I mean, some of these names I probably am not going to be able to pronounce. Um, actually, yeah. All right, so goalkeepers: Dean Henderson, James Trafford, Jordan Pickford. My first choice, John Pickford, all the time. Um, Defenders: Dan Burn, Mark Gay, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Tino Livramento, Nico O'Reilly, Jarrell Quansah, Jed Spence, John Stones. Midfielders: Elliot Anderson, Jude Bellingham. I can't even remember how to say his first name now, even though I know he's played a few times, but Eberici Eze, um, Jordan Henderson, Kobe Mainu, Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers. Forwards: Anthony Gordon, Noni Maduki. You probably messed that name up, even though I've heard that name before. Marcus Rashford, Kaya Saka, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins, and Harry Kane. Um, so yeah. Um, all right. Jordan Pickford obviously was going to get picked. Dean Henderson, I guess I would have probably thought him anyway. James Trafford. When I was looking at goalkeepers, I mean, those names you always see. I mean, what's his name? Like his name now. Not Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsdale. He he was always like the second choice before. It was either Jordan. Um, but when it came to Gareth selecting squads, it was like mainly Jordan Pickford. Then it would be Aaron Ramsdale and I can't remember if it was Dean Henderson or if it was Nick Pope. But like the second choice was normally Aaron Ramsdale. I keep want to say Aaron Ramsey, and I know it's not Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah. Defenders: John Stones. He's normally playing, so I thought, yeah, he'd be there. Reece James, I kept hearing mentioned anyway. Mark Gay, yeah. Dan Burn, he's only like a recent thing. I don't even think Gareth ever selected him. Um, Jed Spence is Tottenham, I think. Yeah, some of those names I've heard of. They weren't the first ones that come to mind. Midfielders: Elliot Anderson. I've heard the name, but that name wasn't one of the ones that come into my head. Jude Bellingham, obviously. I mean, there was a thing about is he going to get picked? There's a, I think I kind of had an idea he probably picks, and could be Manu. Jordan Henderson, I mean, he was always in Gareth squads, although he wasn't in what's it called? The um Euro 24 one. But then he got called back like with I didn't even think it was Lee Carsley. I think it was with Tuchel. Declan Rice, that was obvious. Morgan Rogers, that name didn't even come into my head. Um, Anthony Gordon. I'm not a big fan of Anthony Gordon. I'll get back to that in a minute, but I am not. Maduki. It didn't come into my head because I can't even pronounce the blooming name. I don't think I can. Marcus Rashford kind of was who I thought was going to get picked anyway. But Kiyosaki, obviously. Ivan Toney, I think, was a surprise to a lot of people. I mean, it didn't even cross my mind. But Ollie Watkins was kind of obvious because, like, if it's not Harry, it's Ollie, and yeah, and Harry Kane, obviously. Um, so when I knew, well, if somebody said what players are you certain are going to be in that team? I mean, I wasn't even sure about John Stones being in the team. I wanted him to be in it, but I wasn't sure he was actually going to get picked. When you're looking at like the ones on here, the ones I was like it's a shoe in. Um, I mean, even Jude Bellingham, I wasn't even sure. I was thinking most probably, but I wasn't sure. But the ones I was like, yeah, they're definitely going. They've got the tickets already. Like they've had the tickets for ages. Jordan Pickford, Declan Rice, and I mean Harry, of course. Um, yeah, Anthony Gordon. All right. The reason I'm not a big fan of Anthony Gordon, actually, in the what's it called, the press conference they done, um, and apparently, Tuchel said he wasn't picking the most talented. It was the most like um, I can't remember the way he worded it, but it was like not the divas, and that made me laugh. I mean, I don't know how. All right, well, actually, yesterday on the news they were going about three people that didn't make it. Harry Maguire, um, Cole Palmer, and Phil Foden. I mean, that was actually, and there was another one, but I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. But was it Morgan Gibbs White? I think. But those three, I was like, wow. I'm not a Cole Palmer fan. I know he's a good player, but I'm not a big Cole Palmer fan. I mean, look at how he done well in the Euros. I mean, he scored in the final in the Euros. Um, he got the ball to Ollie Watkins in the semi-final. Um, for England to win the semi-final. So there's that. I'm not a big fan of him. Um, Phil Foden and Harry Maguire. I mean, from as far as I remember watching England, that's not as far as I remember watching. I mean, I've watched. I don't think I watched England play in '96, like in that Euros. I know I definitely watched Euro '98. Not Euro '98, World Cup '98. Um, so I probably I'm assuming Gareth played. I mean, of course he played, but can't remember seeing him play. But I probably did. I just can't remember it. Um, but from when I mean, like I said, I've always watched England play, but it was kind of like, I don't know, that the World Cup in 2018. I remember watching, can't remember, like, minute by minute, like, watching the game. I remember watching the penalty shootout. So I obviously watched the whole game, but I can't remember it in detail then. Like, the penalty shootout, I remember. I remember the whole thing about England playing Sweden. And it was like something about Swedish meatballs in the paper going on about it for whatever reason. From IKEA. So I remember that. I just can't remember like really being into it. Um, which is funny, like when you're considering Gareth Southgate as manager, Harry Kane as captain, and maybe he was captain as well. It was only like I don't even think it was the start of the Euros in not the 2020 Euros, which is in 2021. I don't even think it was like the first. Um, can't remember watching the first. I can't remember the group stages that well. I remember the draw for. I remember England and Scotland. There was a draw. I remember that. I just can't remember like the other group games. Like actually watching them. At some point, whenever it was, I remember watching it. I must have been thinking, who is that player? That blonde player getting the goals? And I remember like I was like, who is he? And I was like, he's like, he's good looking people, but I mean, Harry was like, I can't think of the word he used. Um, it's like look stands out to me anyway. And yeah, it's like look, his look stood out. I was like, who is he? He's good looking, kind of thing. And he's like caught my eye, and well, been like that ever since. And then there must have been at some point during that as well, like the press conference, which I was watching for Harry. And then I was not the press conference. Yeah, it was a press conference, like before the games. And I was obviously watching it for Harry, but then I was like, Harry were there. But then my eyes were like, who are you? Not who are you? I know who he was. I was like, yeah, I'm watching this for you too. So, um, how am I going from Gareth and Harry to when I was on about something else? Yeah. Anyway, that's when I started watching it properly. Was like 2021. Taking notice of Gareth and Harry. And he said Gary then. Not Gary. Don't like Gary. Not that Gary anyway. Yeah, you know what Gary I'm on about. Um, yeah. So that's when I noticed those two, and that's when I started watching England properly. And at that point, you would see regularly in England squads Harry Maguire and Phil Foden. I don't think I've known anything different. I mean, there's been times when Harry Maguire hasn't been in it through injury or whatever. But the big tournament, but those are for squads or like the internationals. But the World Cups and Euros, Gareth always chose them. Even when they hadn't, I mean, when Harry or Man United hadn't been doing that well, he still picked Harry. Yeah, so there was that. So I was like, wow, how are they not in the team? Um, which is yeah. Anyway, back to Anthony Gordon. This whole thing about the divas, I don't know about Cole Palmer. I'm not a big fan of Cole Palmer. Don't know if he is a diva, but you have um Harry Maguire and Phil Foden. I have never seen anything like that makes them seem like a diva, so I don't think it was pointed towards them. But it was something about no divas in this squad. So what about Anthony Gordon then? Maybe he's not so bad now to others. But in my head, when I think of Anthony Gordon, he went out to Germany in the with the England squad for the Euros. I don't think he got any time on the pitch. I think he was on the bench and he didn't play any minutes. But you know, he was taken out there, and then he had the cheek at some point when they were back, and I mean, thinking about it, it was after Gareth resigned, but he was probably thinking, well, if I say this, if he didn't resign, I wouldn't have said this because I wouldn't get big. But yeah, I remember there was an interview and there must have been mentions of him not playing any games out there. I think he said I think I can't remember the whole thing, but I think he said something about going out there, not getting picked, and all that kind of stuff. That is not diva behaviour, and sorry, but if one thing sticks, if that sticks in my head, you know, if you say something about somebody I'm a fan of, it'll stick in my head, and that's stuck in my head. So every time I see him, and it also bugged me. I mean, I don't think in the last few games I've seen him play, he's been wearing it, but I kept seeing him with a blooming Alice band. Not Alice band, like the like not the ones you just put on, but the ones like you put over that kind of like I've got one here to call it, yeah. And I've seen it and I was like it just reminded me of the fit when Jack Grealish would be wear a hairband. But it's suiting Jack. And every time I saw him playing I was like, oh my god, why are you wearing that at your hair? Um yeah. So oh, enough about that. So yeah, next month. How's that gonna go? Yeah, so anyway, I'll see you in my next video, which will be sometime next week. I'll see you then.